Hello everyone, this is Danish from jobskillshare.org. In this video, I will show you how to kickstart your IT career with just 2 tickets. Now in reality, it's not an actual 2 tickets that is just, you can solve in 2 seconds. It's a learning ticket. It's something to show you practically how some of the things are involved in IT that can help you understand your learning towards these IT positions that you're applying for. Now, what am I talking about? I'm actually talking about the students, I'm talking about the people who are transitioning their career into IT, or people who just want to get into IT from scratch, or let's say they don't have any experience or anything like that, and they just want to understand this career. And I'm specifically talking about IT support career, IT infrastructure. In this, basically, a lot of people start with help desk, user support technician, computer support technicians. These are all entry level positions, and in this, you can also grow to more advanced careers, but that's not what we're talking about here. We just want to talk about how can you get into IT and what can I teach you so you understand the whole image of it. There's something in your mind that this is what I'm going to be doing at work. So we have designed this learning path in our platform. This is something that we basically teach in our live training, fully up-to-date content. We also have self-paced courses. Some are not up-to-date, but there are a lot of free courses available as well. And that's something you can contact the support. But for now, I just want to focus on the things that we really provide, and that's the live training, and everything is in there. So we have created IT fundamental course. Then after that, we have created help desk technical skills course, ticketing system course, Active Directory, Office 365, and help desk soft skills and resume stuff. But this takes about 2 to 3 months. So how can I basically put this in more of a practical understanding for you guys? Now let me just go a little bit back in here. I want to give you a little theory here. So consider me, I'm going to a jungle, and I went to a jungle and I got lost, and I spent, let's say, 10 years in that jungle. And I came across so many different areas, so many different things, so many different people in that jungle as well that are stuck in there, and they taught me things, and there are some animals that bit me and things me and all that kind of stuff. I kind of went through rough time in that, but I found my ways now. If I go back to the jungle, I'm not going to go to certain areas where I will waste my time. So then I came back out of the jungle, and there's a gate, and now you're coming into that jungle, and I'm like standing in there like, listen, I created the map. If you trust me, 40,000 people before you came to this jungle, and this is what they have done. So I show you some of the reviews, some of the videos from them, how they're saying something about platform, and you will be using your common sense then. And then you will say, okay, should I believe this person or not? But this person is going to be always on this gate, even if I come after 1 year, or you're just going to take a step and just going to say, I don't care about you, I'm going to go and find my own ways. So either you're going to find some great ways, like some of the great pathways by nature, you're lucky, or you're gonna come across the same way like I did, and so many people, and you're gonna waste your time. So now when you come back, say, can I get your map? Then I'll give you my stuff, and then you will be successful. That's the whole concept of this video, that I'm going to show you certain things that you're gonna come across, and you have to do these type of things to be successful in this career. Now, what is the issue over here? Why am I making this video? A lot of people that come to our platform already have certifications. Most of them. Some people have Linux, some people have A+, some people have MCSA, some people have CCNA. But a lot of people have done it in a rush, or somebody didn't show them correctly, and they just went through the slides, or maybe they passed it, and now they have no clue. How do I use CCNA for this type of title, or how do I use A+ for that type of title? They have no clue about that. So they come to us. And then there's another issue that a lot of people land a job somehow. They do well, they look at YouTube videos, they learn interviews and things like that, and they do well. Naturally, they just do well, and they land a job. Now the next thing, they are now stressed about the job. Okay, I told them about all of this stuff that I know, but do I really know? So that's where the stress level kicks in, and that's where people come to us, because that's what we do. We are filling the gap of this area that is missing in certification and the colleges and degrees and things like that. So that's the whole concept of this video. So We already have a learning path. We tell people that if you want to start, you can buy our live membership and take our training, and just like I'm talking to you right now, we just talk to you just like that and teach you things. And then we have this fundamental course. If you want to just take it and you want to learn it by yourself, then of course not everything is covered, but 80 to 70% of the things of that we teach in live is covered in the self-paced. So it's still very powerful even if you take the self-paced training. Now let's go back to my 2 tickets, because today we're going to talk with part 1, ticket 1. Next time we're going to talk about ticket 2. So what is that ticket 1? Let's just go in there. So this is a ticketing system. Users are going to go to their ticketing systems and they will submit something like this. And when I say I'm going to be talking about 2 tickets, this is what I'm talking about. This is ticket 1 for us in a learning mode. Learning ticket 1, basically like that. But I want to get into more IT stuff now. So we have a user that just started in this company, and her name is Nancy Baby Shark. The reason I use Baby Shark is you will never forget it. So Nancy Baby Shark starting date is 2nd month and the first date in 2020, which is next month. And you get a ticket. So you may be thinking, what do you mean by ticket? You see, that's where I want to teach you these things today. So they're going to be either using a ticketing system or they're going to be using email or whatever they're using, but it's going to be a system. And in IT term, we call it ticketing systems. A lot of them use ticketing systems, different type of ticketing systems. Why is it important? And have you ever heard of this before? Have you seen this in the degree before? Have you seen this in A+ certification before? Do they go in details about Spiceworks ticketing or Remedy ticketing or ServiceNow ticketing? Did they even talk about these things? Usually they don't. So, and why is it so important? So when you go to the descriptions, everybody's talking about it. You see, it says right there, right in front of you, we have some help desk positions right there. Everybody is talking about knowledge and experience using trouble ticketing system. Then again, experience with ticketing systems. And then on the bottom, monitor and maintain IT ticketing systems. Now you see there's going to be a lot of different things in description, but certain things are very generic. It's like it's going to be there. And if you know about it, the rest is okay. Not every company will test you on specific ticketing system, but they will want to know that have you have any experience about ticketing systems, because ticketing system is a thing that you can even get a job just by doing ticketing in a big company. If it's a huge company, you may just get hired as a ticketing system person and you will be just assigning calls because companies run on ticketing systems. If my help desk guy is not good at ticketing, then this means my company at certain point will be losing business. Why? Because my clients are not going to get response correctly. My assignments of the issues are not going to be correct because my help desk guy doesn't know anything. So guy or girl, whatever, I mean, you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So you can see where the problem is. If you don't know about ticketing, then all these calls that are coming to the company could be assigned not in a right way, and now we are losing customers. So people are very hard on this, and that is the reason we teach this in our live training. Full ticketing system. We have a ticketing system that we basically at the end give it to you, and then you have this in our other free courses as well. So this is where, when we go back to this ticket, Nancy is starting. So Nancy starting means that it started with the ticketing system. You either got a call in the ticketing or in the email. Even if you got it in the email, you need to know the skills of converting that ticket into the ticketing system. Sometimes it's automatically done, but that's skill wise, you need to know it, right? So you see, then after that, documentation and knowledge base inside that ticketing system. So you need to understand that as well. So what am I saying here? You need to know and you need to get trained on ticketing system. We train you on that. It's a part of our learning path, and we do that in a whole session, and you get access and you do it. So now basically I'm going to be talking like that to complete this ticket. Of course, I'm not going to be training people in this video on ticketing system because this ticket is no longer a ticket anymore. Then it says right there, create Nancy AD and Office 365 account. Keep attention to AD and Office 365. These are two different systems from Microsoft. Active Directory is such a core requirement for a lot of people that I have seen people just passing interviews by knowing Active Directory. Why? Because you are in a domain connected environment. Now I'm talking about these terms. So where do you understand this stuff? Where are you going to learn these things? Of course, that's also something we teach in the live training, or you have to learn it from somewhere that teaches about domain controllers. How do you create a domain controller in a basic way? How do you then open a ticket, Active Directory, stuff like that. So in our, labs, we basically do it like this. I'll show it to you right now. And let's say this is our lab, and we'll just open it up and we'll create a domain controller, and then after that we will do a lot of things in this lab. Let me refresh this. So while this is coming up, we can go back, and there you go, it just came up. So right now you see that somebody has to teach you this stuff. Somebody has to tell you that, okay, this is a domain controller. Inside the domain controller, that's actually a server first. So somebody had to tell you what is the server, some of the little bit basic stuff about the server, and then they will ask you in the interviews the same thing. What's the difference between a server and operating system? So you need to understand that, right? So I hope that you know this stuff by now. This is just too generic stuff, and we also teach you this kind of thing. But here you go. This is Active Directory right there. So when people talk about, okay, we need to add Nancy, they're not going to say add Nancy to Active Directory. In the companies, they will say add Nancy. And whatever system they're using, then you need to know it. But generically, a lot of people will be testing you on Active Directory because it's such a huge thing. And look it in front of you, a job description, desktop support technician, they're saying Active Directory. On the bottom, you go to many different type of positions that are going to be talking about Active Directory. And right with that, if you talk about Office 365, there you go. We have managing Active Directory and Office 365 accounts. So when we say managing, is not troubleshooting Active Directory, is not troubleshooting Office 365 at the backend level. Those are engineering type of positions. That's advanced. What we're talking about is just adding a user, removing their license, giving their license, adding them to groups and stuff like that. So that's a skill that you need to know. And a lot of people, like I said, in the companies, that's just generic skill. If you know it, people know that you know about these things. They're going to respect that, and they're going to give you that job based on you knowing this stuff. If you don't know these things, if you don't know it, then of course it's not going to be easy for you to land these jobs. So here, if you go back to our ticketing system right here, you see we are talking about creating Nancy's account in Active Directory, which I just showed you in this server. You need to understand this whole process, which we show you in the live training. And then you need to understand how to add account in Office 365. Then of course you need to know about Office 365. It's a cloud-based system. It's from the Microsoft. How does it work? How do you get access? Who give you access? How do you log in as an admin? What's the difference between you and a user? You're going into the admin account. Then inside there's so many different type of features that you need to understand. So that's not something you can do in 1 or 2 days. You need to understand this, and you need to give some time, and that's why we teach this stuff and give access for 30 days. For people, when they finish our training, they get 30 days access to this stuff, and then they get 30 days access to our main servers that we provide online, and you have all the access to it, and you work on it. Okay, so now let's going back. I'll keep coming back to this right here. Let me close this. So this is what I was talking about. Like, so when we talk about Active Directory and Office 365, we are already talking about domain network. So you need to understand the differentiation between a domain computer and a home group computer, and how do you convert it into a domain connection. You need to add that to the Active Directory. How do you join a computer to a domain? How do you unjoin the computer to a domain? These are all skills that are going to come under this area right here. So now you're thinking right now, right? You're thinking that, okay, if that's Active Directory in Office 365, how many tickets can I get in just in this area? I mean, you can get thousands of tickets. You can even get a job in that as well if you're working in Office 365 environment. In future, you're going to see support positions just for Office 365, because that's how companies are moving. They're taking over almost everything. Emails there, documentations are there, your Word, PowerPoint, everything, different type of applications are now in the cloud. So of course we need to support it now at some point, and everything, most likely they're going to have their own support positions, and we're going to have different type of support positions for the local environments, right? So of course after that, tiny things will add up. In that ticket, Nancy is a sales director. Nancy's office is 303. So where do you change that? You need to understand that. Where do you go into Active Directory then? Of course, they didn't mention that. It's going to be in the organizations, and you're going to add it over here. In Office 365, exactly the same way, you're going to be finding these options, these fields. So you need to understand that that's kind of the things that we do, and it comes under that skill. Now, of course, this is also a part of that. So Rishi, then another thing starts. Set up Nancy's workstation. You see, now you had to understand Active Directory, and you have to understand Office 365, but whole operating system and workstation is a different world. We're talking about Windows 10, and imagine how many things can happen into Windows 10. So first you need to know how to understand is how can I do troubleshooting on a network environment. The same operating system, if you take it in your home, that's going to be different. But if you take it to a business and you connect it to the domain environment, it's different, because now we're talking about access over here. We need to understand the access levels. We need to understand what kind of rights you have, what kind of rights users have. So you see, operating system on its own is a different world, and that's where you will be using your lab again, because in this we are giving you a full operating system to play around with that you have connected to the domain controller. You need to understand then the internal commands, how to know these commands, ping, ipconfig, and let's look up. All these things you need to understand, and this is going to help you throughout your career. Not only this, of course, you get practice lab environment, where then you can go into this different type of lab. So let me show you that. So in the practice lab, you can see right now that you have so much access, but then of course we are guiding you that you need to be taking this course, and for specifically for Microsoft, this modern type of operating system, then you need to come back to MD 100 Windows 10 course, which you're going to learn about deployments, user data migrations, using WTS, all that kind of stuff will come under this area. But a lot of people don't expect you to know advanced stuff in the beginning. They just want to know that can you install an operating system normally on a desktop, can you install operating system on a virtual machines. Like for example, I had an example over here, if I have it still open, maybe not here, restart Windows 10 VM. You see, a lot of time you'll be working in a system where they will have some type of virtual systems, and that's where you're going to be learning everything on a VMware environment. You're going to create a virtual machine, you're going to create an image of it, and of course internal things that I just mentioned, that there's a lot inside the operating system that you need to learn, and it's not going to be again in 1 or 2 days. It's going to take you time. So then of course inside the operating system, then there's a well-known application. So we set up, you now understand that okay, we will set up our machine, and you understand everything inside that machine operating system. And then of course there are certain applications that are very important to users, and that's going to be Outlook, Word, Microsoft Office, any type of application. And what about the custom applications? What if this company have bought an application for these users, and they have their custom application? Then you need to understand that. But again, you don't need to worry about that. If you understand the basics, like if somebody asks you, do you know how to install an application manually? Do you know how to install an application on a network? Can you deploy an application? So you see, deployment may be a little advanced, but network is basic. Like, you're going to create a file share, which is right below that. It says network share. Then, of course, you need to understand network sharing. And again, Active Directory access, who got some kind of access, who can share, who can map files. You see, all these terms that I'm saying right now are all basic level. File sharing is extremely basic level stuff. So this is a whole process right now. Nancy hasn't even started, and we have to do all these things, and we have to know all of these things before Nancy even start. Think about that. This is a very key point right here. This is the part one of this ticket, that I'm not making Nancy talk to us, right? Nancy will come back, and then she will have issues. She will be contacting us. That's a different skills. Then we will be talking about a little bit more advanced stuff. But right now, you're getting hired just to set up people, and look how many things are involved in just setting up one person. So you just need to understand the whole thing. So Nancy then needs to know that, you need to know that whole network sharing. So we created Nancy in Active Directory, we created her in Office 365. It could be a hybrid environment. Maybe you create it in the Active Directory and it will automatically create, but again, that's advanced. You don't need to know about that. So you see how everything is getting created. At the end, you also need to know about internal web apps. What if this company is using some type of internal servers, and they are using accounting systems, they are using various systems. They have a lot of people. A lot of people are using, let's say, monitoring system, whatever system they're using, but accounting, all that. Some people may be using sales. They may have a sales system. Salesforce may be their system, and they may have internal web applications. So then you need to know about browsers and things like that. Of course, you need to know about that. And then connecting printers. Printers can be done either manually, or most likely they're going to have some kind of policy, or you're going to have some kind of script. So you need to understand that, how to actually install printer manually for her before she even joins, or she comes to the company, or you need to understand about the policies. What kind of policies are implemented? So you see group policy, again, you're going to jump in back to our training, and then that's where you're going to be learning about group policy. And that's what we teach in our live training as well, at the very basic help desk level. And then after that doesn't end over there. What if Nancy has a laptop? So, and she has to take that laptop and telecommute. Then, what if Nancy comes and she has to do some kind of connection to other places? So you need to understand about VPNs, remote connections. How do you do that, right? So also, some companies are troubleshooting type of companies. They have to then understand, how do you use certain systems to connect to client machines to troubleshoot them. So remote connections, you need to understand that as well. And lastly, when Nancy joins the company, then you need to train her. So you need to have that soft skills, communication skills, technical ability to say things in a non-technical way to this Nancy person. So this is ticket one for you. And I know people are going to be like listening to me and watching and like, that's not ticket one in reality. That's thousands of tickets right there. But this is exactly what you need to know. Now, you don't need to know everything in a very detailed way. If you know the 90% of these things in just a normal way, you can explain it, you can understand it, and you understand what I just said to you, then it will make sense when you go to the jobs, and you will be able to do very well in the interviews. And you can only do this when you have trainings. And that's why we are providing live training. So go to our website, click on jobskillshare.org website, click on instructor-led IT training, and let us train you. It's not going to be 1 or 2 days. It's going to be 3 phases. Phase 1 live, which is going to be like 5 live days or maybe weekends. Then phase 2 is going to be about 2 months of testout.com. You have to do a lot of simulation, labs, learning, and with guidance of ours. And the third is resume, and of course then you have this practice lab for 1 year, and that's where you want to continue learning to grow in your career with us. That's what we do for our members. We do very different things, and I hope you like this video, and it will definitely give you some kind of understanding. Now there's some image built up now that, hey, what happens, at least you need to know. This is the processes right there. You just need to know that. Rest, the ticket number 2, when Nancy joins the company, and how she's going to be calling us, and how we react to her based on different type of skills. A lot of different professionals will give you different type of suggestions, but this is something that we all know and we need to know. Ticket number 1 is something we need to get started with, and that's how you start with. See you in ticket 2. Thank you.